Okay, guys, I know it's been a minute since I've done this, but we're definitely back again for another one. Unfortunately, I stated that I wanted to start at around 8:15, but my internet was just gone, guys. It was just gone. I had to try my best to see if I could get something to eat, and then I came back here for me to do this stuff for you guys, and the internet was just gone. So I actually had to try to rearrange this stuff to make sure that everything worked out properly. So welcome every single one of you guys for being a part of this vibrations. Yes. Okay. Even my mic is not directly facing me, but of course, we have to organize once again, guys. Welcome to every single one of you guys. I see a number of you guys actually in the building. I'm actually doing this a bit differently when it comes on to the vibes, but of course we have the People's Parliament. Okay, let's get active, guys. Let's get active, baby. Okay. I'm guessing this was long before the ring. Guys, when I see this crowd, I want to be seeing like 5, 10, 15, 20,000 people. One day I'll get my wish. One day I will get my wish.
We'll be playing our national anthem, give respect to Dominica, and the meeting will be going on in the next 2 minutes.
Gracia, tell him I'll big up yourself one time for being a part of this here reaction, live interaction.
So let's start in honor of our nation. Let's play the national anthem because that's why we're here. It's about Dominica. True. It's not about any political party. It's not about any individual. It's about our country.
Okay, let's move ahead. Let's see if we can get the. By the way, this is a live from Lofty. Why is it buffering?
Solidarity also from the
we've got to get some of the guys. Daniel A, I agree with you on the amount of people you want to see, but the people more want to see progress and action. I think talking is overrated. I think talking is definitely overrated, but then how do you get the people to rally together if you don't talk? How do you get the people to know what's going on if you don't talk? Hey guys, they're screwing up the country. Yes. Sometimes it seems like human cognition is to remind them so that they are aware. Sometimes we get so caught up in doing or trying to survive that we forget that, hey guys, we can actually try to make it better for ourselves. I think that is necessary. Talking, but I think there needs to be action. I think this is also part of the action right there. And of course, I see a particular individual with a camera.
Which comprises of Grand Fond, Fouillal, Rivière Zurich, and Montreal. And I can tell you, we are victim to a corrupt election. And that's why we are in full support with the ERC on the journey to get proper, true electoral reform. Electoral reform as the mandate that was mandated by Mr. Byron. Remember, our tax money paid for him to do a job for us.
Guys, can you imagine that the Prime Minister paid Byron to do the electoral reform, right? He did it. Scared I'd call elections again and whatever, but he did it. And then Scared rejected what he did because he didn't like it. So about $750,000 went out the window for nothing. But at least then Byron got his money. He presented the stuff. Scared didn't like it. He rejected it. That's crazy right there. Daniel A, I think the people need a power voice, like how Martin and Malcolm X, there is some. Yeah, it's always people trying to have somebody to motivate them. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were great orators. These people were great in what they did, and But the thing is, they actually had people who wanted change as well. They wanted better. They wanted that. It seems like the people want it, but they want somebody else to do it for them. So it's not just in having great orators. It's not just people who have the ability to motivate, but you also need to have the people who actually want to have change and make the change possible. Back in the day, you couldn't have this craziness that happened in Dominica now. You could never see that. So how did it end up reaching that state?
The cup must be complete. It cannot be half full. And that's why we are standing strong in the movement for electoral reform in Dominica. Right. Without electoral reform, you will not have a proper local government system. Without electoral reform, you will not have your public sectors in good shape.
I agree, Dame. Without electoral reform, you wouldn't have free and fair elections. Pretty much, to sum it up right there. Let me go forward, guys. I think we've heard this sentiment before.
If the mountain cannot get to us, let us get to the mountain. We have to move, ladies and gentlemen. No.
Well, asking people to move the mountain. Hey, guys, let us move the mountain. People are not going to want to move the mountain, you know. Anyways, I see Jerry Nelson. Big up to Jerry Nelson right there. Jerry Nelson is saying, power to the people, time for action, only in Dominica. I've oftentimes heard people talk about action. What exactly is the action that you guys are talking about? Can you let me know in the live chat? We need to know what exactly the action that you guys are talking about right there. Are we going to get in arms? Are we going to get, you know, in the United States, they have arms to prevent a tyrannical government from forming. Dominica doesn't seem to have this. We depend on the police. But then if the police is corrupt, then what exactly is the people going to be doing to stand against the police? But then again, sometimes you don't really need arms, but people will be suffering as a result of not having arms to fight against the very people who are oppressing them. So I think the people, the founders of the United States, they know what they were doing.
And I call upon you that from now we should change our mind, tell yourself we are going to take reform if reform is not given to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's move on to...
Yeah. And without election reform, there is no election but selection.
Well, I mean, it's constantly the repetition. We need electoral reform. Yes, we need electoral reform. We know we need electoral reform. On the basis of repetition, I think individuals need to know why we need electoral reform so that we can have free and fair elections. Of course, that has been stated time and time over time again. And of course, we are not seeing what needs to be done to have free and fair elections. Of course, there's a push, and I remember doing the podcast with Dr. Thompson Fountain, and he says, yes, certain things are being put in place, true, but it's kind of like, you know, having it worse. Because, for example, you know, I might have a number of times that persons need to be in Dominica who live overseas, you know, so they can come and vote, whether it's 6 months or however long it is. These individuals can come in from Dominica, but apparently right now they're looking to take all that out. So yes, they're putting certain things in positions, but they're removing the consequence, so to speak. You know, you want to tell people, okay, everybody should have access to the state-owned media. Yes, and with Dr. Thompson Fountain, they indicated, yes, we need to have this, but if this doesn't happen, if this doesn't happen, then there needs to be some sort of consequence. So the Prime Minister them agree to have individuals come on the state-run media, but they don't want to have the consequence. You know, they can say, yes, sure, we can allow you guys to use the media, and then come and don't use the media. But if there's no consequence for you using preventing them from using the media, then what is the point of saying, yes, you guys can run it? And I think that is one of the things that Thompson them were trying to push, but apparently they are trying to remove that. So if you're trying to remove that, then you're not trying to have free and fair elections. You're trying to appease them with the basic, but not necessarily having the depth to pretty much, you know, protect the basic stuff that is out there, or what is needed to be had. So I'm from Cali. Okay. Jerry Nelson said a revolution. Revolution how? What revolution are we talking about? I just mentioned arms. Are you going to be picking up arms? Are we going to be picking up our cutlass and stuff? What is the revolution? What is the action that we're looking at right there? I'm I'm from Cali. He's saying only in Dominica, America literally has a feeble person in power. Yeah. This is why I stated America and the Democrats in the United States and the Liberites in Dominica are the same. They are the exact same thing. Anyways, let's continue.
That's why this man will never be out without election reform, because he's electing himself. My people, I am proud to see you all. Though they are more people supposed to be here, because nobody is supposed to come to you and tell you about the condition in the country. And on the radio, I'm hearing people talking about the opposition is not doing enough and this and that. Hello? Let me ask you a question.
He's right. I've heard people saying the same thing as well. People saying, no, the opposition leader not doing enough. What else the opposition leader supposed to do? First of all, the opposition leader is supposed to hold the government accountable to the things that they say they're going to be doing. When the opposition is saying, hey guys, this is what the government said that they will be doing, they're not doing this, the people need to take action, you have a few people coming up and you expect to have change. We're talking about action right there, brothers and sisters. When the opposition is holding the government accountable to the people and telling the people, hey, this is what they said they will be doing, they're not doing this, few people show up. This is the action that we're talking about right there that is much needed. Therefore, if there's no action, all you are going to hear is talking. Guys, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. Time over time over time. Because the people are not acting. The people are not acting. Remember when the people started to act for the very first instance of electoral reform, guys? Remember the hundreds or maybe even about 1,000 people or 1,005, depending on the amount of people that were there, were marching through the streets of Roseau and scared. Them was scared and started having meetings. But I told you guys the very thing that they were going to be doing. They're going to be killing time with these meetings. And so said, so done. But at least there was some sort of action that was causing the government to do something. So when the government is saying something and the opposition is saying, hey people, all you need to come together, we need to rally together, and calling for the people to come, a few hundred people showing up. Oh.
Who is the opposition? You are not doing enough. We are the opposition. Don't wait for a Clinton or Thompson Company or Boston or some big man to come to your head and tell you your home you have food.
I don't understand. People feeling the pain of the economy that the leading government has caused, and they still want people to come to their house and talk to them. What? Boy.
We all know the condition in the country. Picture 25 years ago. Each and everyone had fish money under their carpets. Fish money. Fish no blowing at all, you. But their imagination making them hear a shell. They asking the neighbor if a shell is blowing. Papa, but now the shell is blowing right in your face. You cannot hear it because you have no money to buy fish. I am asking you, the people of Dominica, scaring is not the problem. We are the problem. Stop blaming the scary. When you give a man privilege, he takes advantage.
Yep. If nobody's stopping him from doing the things that he wants to do. I remember Scary coming on stage and telling the people, hey, why all you do those say, make Scary do whatever he want. The man doing whatever he want and coming to trouble all you and tell you why you don't make him do what he want. That is audacity. That is God's way. You think you can do that in a country where the people have their head on? You think? I will never forget when Prime Minister Scary coming and tell people about he can take his children overseas for health. Health. In the very thing that the people voting for to better their health conditions, the man saying he can take his children and family and fly them overseas for better medical attention. Then ask them, what about you? The leader you voting for to help you in the healthcare system. He in charge of it. Making ministers and holding the ministers accountable to the healthcare. He asking them, what about you? He asking. And you know what the people's response was? What you clapping for? The man telling you that you don't have good health, you don't have good health care, and you clapping? You don't.
And that's what's happening. We need to stand up. The power is in our hands, and we let it go in his hands. Let's take that power back. The man even choosing Byron for constituent this. My people, don't blame the parents and them, because they are not parents. They are just working.
Yep. Please hold
Because
on.
when a man choose you and give you a piece of money and tell you go and represent him there, you are not working for a constituency, you are working for him.
That's true.
Your constituency is supposed to choose you. That's why right now in BrBpTV we don't have a parent. We are not seeing him, we are not hearing him. In last part about the alligator data wannabe, when we finish, it's a fact. And it's not from there alone, Dominica. Because we leave that man to manage, and he damaged all sector of the country.
That's true. Every sector of the country. You hear about the minister. A number of persons always say, Mr. Leaks, you need to learn the different ministers. I need to learn what I learning them for. Huh? What I learning them for? I need to know Minister of Tourism. What I learning that for? For what reason? When there's anything involving tourism, is the Prime Minister that coming. What I need to know who the tourism minister for is. What I need to know who the housing minister is. When there's housing matters, is the Prime Minister that's showing up. What I need to know who they are for. These people are just placeholders. It's a clear example in Calibishi. You would think, okay, maybe the Minister of Housing would come in, or the Minister of Tourism and this kind of things that would come in, dealing with certain matters that deals with Calibishi. No. Scary that there in forefront. It have an engineer, the man that is the engineer. And you telling me I need to know who the ministers is? For what?
And you know which sector that's supposed to be arranged first? The election sector. This is the first place we have to start.
Facts.
By reform.
That's true. It doesn't matter what party comes into position. If electoral reform is not had, brothers and sisters, no free and fair elections will be had. The problem here is that you're just going to be splitting votes with a set of party that has no level of relevance. People want to create party. Yeah, I want to come in just for them to try to get a little spotlight. No, you are defeating the purpose. Right now, unification of the opposition needs to be had. There should be one opposition. When the present government has been overthrown and proper electoral reform has been established, that is when other parties need to come in. That is where it will take place. So that corruption and these things will not be had. And I also believe that they need to include about 2 terms. You run, okay, you have 2 terms, that's it. I think that needs to be done. That would evade corruption to a certain level. I think that needs to be done. Let me see what some of you guys are saying. Daniel A. Dominica need to have debates, public debates with oppositions versus the PM, so we can all see clearly who is capable of leading. I mean, it's very clear that the opposition is capable of leading because they're the ones that presented it last time, or the one before, I think it's 2019. They presented it, and the government never showed up. I think on advice of the Prime Minister's advisors told him not to do so. I remember that. They tell him not to do so because he would appear to be a fool on the stage. When questions have been asked to the Prime Minister about certain things, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why do you think the Prime Minister himself is scared of having a certain amount of people in the press conferences that he tend to have? I showed up twice, you know, twice, once or twice. I showed up there once or twice, brothers and sisters, twice. They didn't make me come in. So, anyways, let's continue. Where was I? Okay.
After we put election reform, we will reform our country.
Okay, so we need electoral reform. Let's continue. Thanks for that information.
I am not sitting on my ass and I cannot save my money and not head. I have a restaurant.
You're making money and you can't save money at the end. There was actually somebody I was trying to help in accounting, and the person works 2 jobs. The person realizing the 2 jobs that they are working is still just meeting obligation, just barely meeting obligation. So the individual hardly has anything to save. And if anything out of the ordinary comes in, that money vanishes. So imagine you trying to save a little something for 3-4 months, and something does happen. All what you save for 3-4 months vanishes. In the nature of the Caribbean, she works 2 jobs.
The people that are saying they are not elite, I am letting you know that all of us elite. Because when you go in the shop, tell them you're not elite. Let them take up the price for you. My people, rise up and wise up. And I believe we talk enough. The country itself is...
You see, he himself agree we talk enough. But the people need to wise up and rise up. But then again, they need to first wisen up. How then do you get people who are defeated to wisen up? I asked Thompson that same question. How do you get people to wisen up when they are clearly defeated by the economy that is supposed to help them? You see, it's a psychological thing at the same time. You defeat a person not on the basis of personally attacking them, you know. You defeat what they depend on for them to survive. That's how you get people. Just like how the global elites out there, how they attack people is not based on going to each individual in society, you know. They go after the leaders. They go after the leaders that the people elect. This is why it's important to elect proper leaders. Brothers and sisters, look, the government signing stupidness that ties Dominica into the next 20 years of God knows what is going to happen in the next 5, 10, 15 years. But we are locked in. The very thing Trinidad warned us about. If you don't have competent leaders, brothers and sisters, how you expect to have competent decisions? How?
To shut up by itself, as you have seen, because places have been closing down. We need to stand up and stop talking.
Okay, we talk. Let's move on to the next one now. Guys, this thing is too... Uncle.
That's a blessing to you. You got 2 good bad only. And that's all I have to patch it to. Then you got 2 good bad only. And when you say you got 2 good bad, 2 force more. Now I don't know
what happened to Lofty, boy? Lofty. That's the best shot you could get, the man eating food. Guys, to tell you honest truth, I don't know what he's saying there. So
you're looking for plantain, not pineapple. A lot of people in Dominica planting, who are supporting that person. I don't call him his name because you already know what is happening. I am not calling his name. But when you plant plantain, you're not looking for pineapple. You're looking for plantain. And I'm looking for plantain and I will get plantain. When I get plantain, I'm going to have a banana. Must séparer la tout le monde donné. Because when you push here, massa mange tout banana. Si vous mangez tout, il est tout fait bon. So when you séparer, so don't plantain.
I don't know what he's saying there, but if you know what you want, if it's planting you want, that's what I get from it. If it's planting you want, do go after something else. Go for planting. All right. Seems like the people don't know what they want. So, guys, part why you talking there? Spanish, I understand.
Only London and all the Central now we do with them. We have to fight. Because
I've oftentimes hear they saying that we have to fight, we have to fight, we have to fight. Brothers and sisters, fighting should have been happening already. On the basis of when the opposition is saying something and saying, hey guys, the government is trying to sidetrack this. The people need to come out. That is action. Not afterwards waiting for something else to happen. No, it should be happening during. When parliament is being had and there's madness going on in parliament, the people need to come out. You think if the people start showing up during parliament, outside and making noise and this kind of things because of what is going on inside Parliament, you think the chaos would be continuing? It's not afterwards, brothers and sisters, it's during. So when things are happening, the opposition is saying, hey guys, this is happening, we need to show up. You need to see thousands of people outside there. That is what the action is. What action are we looking for? Huh? We need to stand up and fight. How? That's what I asked earlier on. How are we going to stand up and fight? Is when the things is happening, that is when people need to say, hey, no, enough is enough. Just like the farmers in France. When they decide they're trying to put regulations and what have you, you see the amount of the thousands of trucks. Miss me, thousands of trucks that show up with. Dominica, you don't give 1,000 people? Really? Boy. Thousands of trucks showed up, blocking the road, putting feces on Parliament, all sorts of things, mud in Parliament, yard, all kinds of things was going on. Police self don't get involved. Police leaving those people alone. Although some of them try to put barricades, but you know, it's tractors that coming in, they move the police. And they go through. The people know which country that they're. That is what needs to be happening. You know, tell me within every elections or after elections to go and make noise. It needs to be happening during the time when Parliament is passing and they're trying to pass bills and saying government need to get this. How on earth you passing a set of money for agriculture, $15 million for agriculture, and you're not using half of it? Huh? And you want to tell me the office of the Prime Minister had a budget and it double, triple, or even go by 10 times the amount? God knows what happening with the monies. They're reallocating all the monies to the office of the Prime Minister. And people, they're quiet at their home. And they're waiting for something else to come and do the action. Brothers and sisters, the action supposed to be happening during the time. Not after.
So I not going on the road and say, put voters ID card. But when you reach Parliament or you reach on DBS, they stop you. Have to take your home and you have to get wrong with because first priority, you already tell Islam, we pay $64,000 for you. It's not your house.
That is something. How a Prime Minister care? The man can go and stay in his house. Imagine taking one of that $64,000 to rebuild and repair the previous house the Prime Minister was staying in. To rebuild and repair that house. And therefore $64,000 a month would not be vanishing from the public's purse. That would actually be needed to help the people, brothers and sisters. The man taking $64,000 and you want the opposition to go to your house? You want you want people to go to your house and talk to you to let you know that the economy is not doing well? The man taking $64,000 a month from your pocket, from your public purse? Huh? Plus on top his salaries again. Estimated about $90,000 per month that he and his wife are receiving on the basis of with the $64,000. Really?
You told me and say my house stop. So you see now who can get body. Who can do the bush who can say so then the same people who don't need that. If I can project if I can project avec nous en parlement, il vous dit sorry, mon candidat de vote à l'État là, because mon frère sont toutes les choses sérieuses mais on nous donne mon combat. So nous avons justice, nous avons patience, and patience can happen. Very, avec garder pour ça. J'en ai 7 pour moi. J'en ai mon
Hela, somebody get me stay close now. Hold on, let me see what you guys are seeing right there. That self is so dumb, removing a mechanical guy in his right department and putting him in. Yeah, I never understand that. They take out the medical guy and they put him in finance. What on earth is done about finance for him to know about? Anyways, they put the engineer in the medical field. They put what Melissa in housing? Melissa can build nothing. Apart from carnival float. Melissa that is housing. I don't I find this is ridiculous, guys. This is insanity right there. Anyways, let me see. Why is a mango Kalonji? People can't accept more of the same. People can't accept more of that the same. Politicians are more of what they do. and nothing of what they say. No, it's not that now. The people voting for their own personal gratification instead of the community's gratification. So when you see politicians come and give you $300 and $500, there's a problem with that. You blame the people. You don't blame what is happening around them. You blame the people for that. Just like when I talk about when Parliament, they trying to pass things and the people not showing up to say, hey, they're not passing through Parliament like that. We're not for that. The people just do whatever they want. That's what is happening right there. People can't accept more politicians anymore. So we need to elect the politicians that do for the people, not they say. I've heard Skerrit consistently talking about pie in the sky promises. These are not pie in the sky promises. And he coming back and give you pie in the sky promises over and over. These are not the pie in the sky promises. Hopefully my Skerrit impression is on point. Anyways, Skerrit plan worked. Daniel A is saying this. Nikron Dura is saying real talk. Daniel A, Skerrit plan work condition people in mind so that when time comes, they will not be able to go against him. He has destroyed the economy, giving them breadcrumbs so that the people are surviving, not living. They are surviving. They know they need the breadcrumbs to survive. So they will not fight. They don't have the energy to fight because they know that's a long fight right there. Daniel A is also saying, I think Thompson is Dominica's salvation for now. No, I think God is Dominica's salvation. We too oftentimes always focus on the people. But obviously, when it comes down to the economy, I think Thompson Fountain will help greatly when it comes down to that right there. So it's not Thompson that is Dominica's salvation. It's the people that is Dominica's salvation. Because what if Thompson comes in and Thompson starts doing the same thing that Skerrit is doing? Huh? If the people's minds are still defeated, then what's going to happen is the same circle over and over again. So it's not Thompson that is the salvation of Dominica. It's the people. And for the people to know better, they must do what? They must trust in the Creator and know that the Creator knows better for them. And therefore become wiser in their understandings of how nature works and how mankind works. I think that is the flaw of humanity right there. Jerry Nelson, action, we need to be out every day, not just one day. Action how? I keep asking you guys, action how? Anna James, hi, good night. Hope you I'm here from, okay. Big up St. Martin right there. Daniel 64. Daniel A. 2 months of that can fix his house. Yeah. One of them alone can fix the house. The house used to stay back in the day. Great job, Dominica. Yes, she is. Anyways, guys, let's continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I want to say to us as a people, and actually it was Song Shu, you might not know who that is, but he was a great strategist, a military fighter who said, victorious warriors win first, and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first, and then seek to win. We're going to win first. Do you understand what?
Guys, during that same time, I saw a set of bikers going on Portsmouth. A set of bikers going on Portsmouth for whatever activity they was gonna have. I myself, you know, I leave them do their thing. I was on another mission right there. But I'm expecting to see a lot of young people there. They are the future. They are the older folks trying to fight for the young people, while the young people are going out and see woe still. You will see woe till you reach old, and then you'll have nothing to show to your next generation. That is something else, to live your entire life saying you go and see one party, nothing to show afterwards. That is a hell of a life to live here, boy. Anyways, let me see. I'm from Cali and her degree is in computer science. Melissa degree in computer what? If Melissa degree in computer science, they should have select something for her to do in computer science. I wonder if you go in school to do computer science and you're not utilizing it. What was the point of going to school for computer science? Anybody can help me out? Furthermore, Melissa says she graduated at a particular time. People research and find out, Melissa didn't graduate. No, the gong she says she graduated in and the gong that was graduated at the time is two completely different gongs. So I don't know if it's online she graduated, but she definitely did not go to that school apparently that she graduated. So That self is another interesting story in that regard right there. Auto 718, the problem is with the local rep. It's not the prime minister. Not the problem with the people. The problem with the people, I put 25%. I had this discussion with a trucker some podcasts ago. And the problem realized I say the 25% with the people and the 75%. The reason why I say 75% because the government makes promises to the people. They make promises to the people that they do not keep. And when they do not keep this thing, the people still, okay, next time they'll do it for us. Anyways, let's continue.
We want to lift our nation up, but we will win.
Prayer is important, guys. Prayer is definitely important for the nation. You cannot lift up the nation with just your hands going up and down, brothers and sisters. Sometimes that is a spiritual warfare right there. See, what do young people, huh? The older folks, they last. If I was the older folk, I don't come in and show my face there, no? For what? Young people are fighting for? What? All you don't show up. That's a problem.
Come to you and address you this afternoon on the surface of the Lapping constituency that is Dominica. And yes, we do sympathize and solidarity with the ERC because we do need electoral reform. Because the Lapping people can remember in 2009 and 2014.
Not miss that I was the partner that was on stage talking about bypassing election and then he go up for election. Not that guy that was saying the same thing there. When they tell people to boycott the election, then he was in the same rally talking on the stage and they ended up being on the ticket for independent candidate for, I think it's for Alex Bruno party. I could be wrong, but I think it was that guy. Ray on Austria, big up yourself one time. Steels vlog out of New York, big up yourself one time. Dominica on live support. Yes. I think they pull the plug on Dominica live support. This is one of the reasons why I always tell people, if you can go. Because even if the Dominica were to make a turnaround right now, brothers and sisters, today, this very hour, Dominica will take at least a good 10 years to revamp itself so that it can come back normal. A good 10 years. Because this man has destroyed the economy. You have to revitalize the economy. You have to create sustainability of a revitalized economy. And you also have to be fighting in the markets themselves. Markets, if Dominica took advantage of, would be the forerunners. But instead, now we are last. Austria himself admitted that Dominica has been last for far too long. He himself admitted that after being leader of the country for quite some time, Dominica has been last for far too long. I think something is definitely wrong in that regard. Anyways,
our parliamentary representative, Mr. Ronald Green.
Oh, is this same guy? You look familiar. It's the same guy. Then again, hey, I guess the people just, come and talk and, thing. But I think they should have hold him into account. You say you was part of the stage and, you say boycott election and you part of on the election ticket. What's going on there? They should have, tell him not today, sir. But hey, I guess he's part of the fight in the cause. So.
At the polls, where he lost by 2. But can you imagine? And I think Mr. Green is in the audience. He has an original list of the 136 people that they brought down to vote against him. And yet, he still lost by 2. So, ladies and gentlemen of Dominica, that is why we need electoral reform.
Facts.
In Dominica. They brought 136 people to vote against him. And he lost by 2. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense.
It doesn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dominica, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to speak up.
You see, that's my problem that I have, guys. They always tell people, do not be afraid. So you have to tell the people, do not be afraid for them not to be afraid. That's how you're going through the same economic hardship. And somebody have to come and tell you, do not be afraid. Help me understand that, because I can't understand that. Talk to me, please. Talk to me nicely.
I stand here before you as one of the true patriots of this country. One of the many voices in the years that has been advocating for you and your children. Do not worry about staring at this political regime. He will do whatever he can to hold that trump card to remain in office.
But obviously, therefore, it's the people that need to come together. But then again, how do you make a people rise up when they feel defeated? It's a hard question, ain't it?
Send a message to him that the power of the people is greater than him and his party that is in power. And every one of them, from him down to his ministers, when they leave office, I want them to know that they will have questions to answer to the next administration. So do not believe honorable spirit or spirit. No respect for you for what you're trying to do, Dominicans.
Imagine Dominica is a laughing stock across the Caribbean. Not on basis of the people now. Of the government we. That's how you ever go to certain meetings, high level meetings, and listen to those people who know about Dominica, talk about Dominica. I met a king, a African king that knew about Dominica for a Bajan lady. She was ambassador to some kind of thing. I met them, talking to them. They even on my video. Talking to them about Dominica. And they talk about the prime minister and making one of the things he told me, the prime minister is the way the prime minister conducts the country, it makes it hard for investors to want to come to do things. Because it seems, this man is telling me, because it seems that if the government doesn't benefit, then they would not succeed. That's what the man tell me. You know, one of the kings of Africa, chief. So when I say in these things, brothers and sisters, I'm not talking just from the Caribbean perspective now. I'm talking from a global scale. There's meetings that they have in New York. Sometimes the Prime Minister Dominica does be there. I know. Well, it's been a while since he's been there though. But I know he used to be there. Because some of the people I met there told me he used to be there.
You and your ministers will be held accountable when you leave office to the next incoming administration. Because Dominica needs electoral reform.
We know we need electoral reform. Okay, so anyways, we're moving along, brothers and sisters.
Reform. I bring greetings to you from the people of La Plaine. Some of you are here.
Yes, La Plaine. See that? See that? You have like about 150 people there. Really? But the youth going down Portsmouth on bike. And I supposed to be fighting for all you. Not all you are supposed to show your face. Show. I think one of the reasons why the elderly folks are there, because the elderly folks feel like they're the ones going out and the younger folks don't want to feel victimized. I understand that sentiment, but when it still comes down to doing something, you then bypass that to go somewhere else so you can see who. Come on. This is not time for dancing. Not that. We're not in this kind of things. Let's continue.
I don't be important, I don't pastor. Now, I am not here to tell you about electoral reform. I cannot do that because you know it already. I am not here to tell you that Ruthless paid Dennis Byron $2,600,000 for a legislature.
$2,600,000. That is $2.6 million.
He take it and give it to the general attorney to put whatever you want in it. You know that already. So I never to tell that to you. I'm not here to tell you that we don't.
Oh, I think he was exaggerating right there. You know,
A chief of police in Dominica, we only have an acting chief of police, so which means Roosevelt Sheriff and Mr. Blackmore that running our police force. I'm not there to tell that to you. You already know that. That is the reason why you are here. But what I am here to try to ask you, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue coming here and stand up and listen to Hillary Clinton?
Good question. See, this is why when we talk about action, I mention when they're saying things in parliament and we do not agree, that is when the people should show up and say, you're not passing that through. No, not at all. That is when action should be had. Or we'll just constantly be coming on step and talking. And then people say, no, too much talking.
Are we going to come here and continue listening to all the leaders talking? What are we going to do about it? It is time for us to stand up. And it is time for us to stop Black Russell. It is time for us to go to the minister, the president's office and let them know that enough is enough. It is time for us to do what we have to do. My people, we need to come up in massive number and take Dominica in our hand and let it crush them, Dominica. I finish with you.
Facts.
Okay, let me read it again. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. We are going to win first. We are not advocating any type of violence. But we are going to win first. We are going to be strategic. We are going to walk when we need to walk. And when we call you to walk, we want you to walk with us. And we are going to walk together. And we're going to do everything it takes that is moral and right to get our country back.
Somebody in the crowd saying no more walking. Yeah, walking is nice, fine. Walk, I guess walking is, making things. Hey, why are they walking? You see them walking every Wednesday or whatever. Hey, why are they walking? They're walking for this. Okay, it brings us an awareness. But are we going to be keep on walking and walking? Come on.
Okay. All right.
What action is needed? I already told you guys what action is needed there. We can't be waiting for every meeting to be having action, folks. Folks show up. If folks, just like they show up when parliament is being had and the people do not agree for certain things, these people not going to go home. They're not going home until they fix it, brothers and sisters. That is action right there.
So, when
they want to approve budget and people, it's not in the benefit of the people. It's not benefiting the people. First, you see one budget go through. The budget hardly use, like I mentioned, the agriculture 15 million. Less than 1/3 of it was used for agriculture. We cannot even see what happened with that right there. They put this budget and the people are suffering because of it. And you mean you want the opposition to come to your house and tell you things are bad? Really? I build from a different cloth, so forgive me.
Remember the public. Remember we are here to win first. Understand what we're saying. Okay? Alright. Let's get another patriot to the People's Parliament. Let's get Mrs. Rosie Felix from Rosie's Park.
Grandma Zuni man. Okay, let's see what Auntie says.
An absolute staple in a thriving democracy is free and fair and credible elections, guided and supported by regional and/or international standard legislation that results in the installation of governments elected by the people, for the people.
Guys, we've heard this already, so we're continuing. It's a good reminder, don't get me wrong, good reminder, but we've heard this before.
and called for election reform in Dominica.
We've heard this before.
Concerned citizens movement, the Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica.
It's a good reminder, but we've heard this before. We need to go to the next step. What is the next step?
Legislation that seeks to legalize cheating, bribing, buying, rigging, and stealing of elections in Dominica.
Yes, this has been happening constantly over and over. What is the next step?
Who is supposed to be defending Dominica would stand and watch and participate and endorse their countrymen and women in government, abuse my Dominic in every way possible.
For their benefit. They have been doing this for quite some time. What is the next step?
Right and get it right. And Dominica must comply. Dominica is bound to comply. Hence, we present you today with the People's Electoral Reform legislation that will provide a level playing field.
So I'm guessing they actually provided some sort of electoral reform from the people. They presented their own. I'm guessing. Are they going to be talking about that? We'll see. We have about an hour and something to go here, so we'll be fine.
Elections once it is adhered to. Mr. Speaker, let those who have heirs not break stick in it. We will take electoral reform. It has not been given to us. So we are taking it. Dominica must comply. Spirit, stop breaking wood in your ears. What is the saying our parents say? Who do not listen,
Who doesn't hear will feel.
will feel the word of the Electoral Reform Coalition. Thank you, Dominica.
This is not a party. What?
Going through a process. At the end of this meeting, Pastor Randy will come and
Okay.
we have to
I want to hear what Pastor Randy have to say.
move and
I think Lennox coming before him. Lennox. Guys, this is not a dance. I don't understand. This is not a dancing time. The country's in dire need of help and we dancing. What? My boy spraying his grandma's on you. Well, you have to kill the weeds there. Root them out. Okay, let me see what some of you guys are saying right there. Auto 718, we have enough African people in Dominica right now. Rayon Austria, on the other hand, I understand why they didn't want to give all 21. They should have just give Labour all. Nah. Yeah, I understand why. Marigot and Salisbury would not sit well. That would not sit well with them at all. So, yeah. Jerry Nelson, some ready for action, some scared of action. I lost hope in Dominicans. Dominicans are waiting for somebody else to come and help them. Can you imagine that? Dominicans waiting for somebody else to come and help them when they are the ones who are supposed to be helping themselves. And you wonder why so many people are leaving. Because those who are talking, even DBS people, labor rights, Gasa, labor rights leaving Dominica in droves. Labor rights is nothing I'm making up, guys. Labor rights leaving Dominicans in droves. You go overseas and you find labor rights overseas working. The same labor rights that were during election time. I met a few of them. I talking to them. I said, you're happy. Yeah, boy. I can never go back Dominica. Some of them say to me, they can never go back Dominica. Labor rights, in campaign, I see these people campaign for labor, going back and forth, campaigning hard. Then people saying they can never go back Dominica. Labor rights. You don't see, you think something. Okay. Let me continue. Seems like they are the dance session of sorts. Anyways, let me read some of what you guys are saying. People have to learn how to respect each other. Promises. What is respecting each other? If somebody is saying something that is not beneficial, I think respect is earned, not given. I think respect is something that is earned, not given. If somebody is talking stupidness in the place, you respect the person on what merit? For talking stupidness or because the person is a person? You respect the person as a person, but if they're talking stupidness, you cannot say you respecting the stupidness that they're saying. There's objective reality here. And if that's one of the things I notice in the world, everybody wants to believe, oh, my truth is my truth. What about the truth? There's a huge difference between my truth and your truth and the truth, you know. If my truth aligns with the truth, me respecting your truth because you say it's your truth doesn't make it true at all. You're just deceiving yourself. Same way internally, if your truth is the truth, and whatever I say, my truth doesn't coincide with the truth, what I am saying should not be respected at all. You understand the person's opinion, but you need to tell the person the facts, the truth. And this is why the world is the way it is. Because people are deceiving themselves on what is not true, calling it their truth. Interesting. Let me see. Mangu Kalonji. Kalonji, I'll just call it Kalonji. I agree the youth need to be more involved. It's their future that's in jeopardy. Yeah. When the country is going backwards. Youth going see wo. If you want, you're gonna mash up later. And you go in and party when the thing that can liberate you or even better or make your chances for a better future better, you're not showing up, but you go and see, oh, you're leaving it for the elderly folks who can do. Okay. It's still.
Yes, we have more development, better.
Let's move on, guys. Okay.
I was raised well. Okay, now I have your attention. Please listen to me carefully for the next 10 minutes.
Somebody say 10.
The word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight.
Uja.
O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Welcome to Liberation Square. Today we have one mission, one purpose, and one destiny. Right here on Liberation Square. Repeat after me. We are not afraid.
Well, they're obviously not afraid they are there. These are definitely the people that are not afraid. So,
as I speak, please take careful note of every time the number 7 is mentioned. On my return to Dominica, Mark Peltier called me for an explanation, and I said to him back then that in the fullness of time, all will be revealed.
let's hope so.
Prophetic words were released into the atmosphere, and Dominica
I'm guessing it's raining right now.
have been handling his heart, forcing himself through illegal means and machination on my people, calling 2 snap elections before the full 5-year term, and deceitfully denying his own lying promise of electoral reform. Pharaoh, let my people go!
Pharaoh didn't let his people go, God people go now. Well, then again, they say Dominica is a Christian nation. I do not agree with that at all. I think Dominica is a Catholic nation. And of course, you know, people don't tend to... I'll leave my peace on now. But, yeah, Pharaoh had to go through trials and testings before he let the people, God make him let the people go, you know. So the question is, will God make scared let Dominica people go? through trials and tribulation. Is one thing where people are saying. I remember a particular family member stating to me, boy, one day God will deliver Dominica from Skerrit. That's what one of my family members was telling me. One day. She doesn't never show her face, you know, but she's saying one day. I say, until you show your face, God will deliver. Anyways, she said, one day God will deliver Dominica from Skerrit. I ask her, what makes you think it's not God that put in Skerrit there to punish Dominicans? You ever thought of that? Because I'm trying to figure out what else would make sense. Dominicans seeing what is happening to them, and they're not fighting against it. It seems like they're welcoming it. All the things that is happening to Dominica seems to be as a result of punishment being laid on Dominicans. So what if God decide to put Skerrit there to punish Dominicans? So when I tell people to leave Dominica, go overseas, and the people who leave Dominica, I just spoke to a particular one today who's elevating, you know, in another Caribbean island. She just left. She checked in, you know what, let me go and take my chances outside there. She left. Was doing cashier jobs and this kind of things there, and she elevate. She's doing much better now. And even in her cashier job, she was making much more than she was making in Dominica, doing her cashier job in the Caribbean, making US dollars, brothers and sisters. So she left. She's doing much better right now. So sometimes you have to leave for you to find betterment for yourself. It's sad, but that is true right there. Rasta Aussie, inappropriate music for such a serious event. Mellow tunes like Natural Mystic should prevail. Okay. I don't know who is that, but okay. Thumbs up the video. Yes, guys, please thumbs up the video. I would appreciate that right there. 87 of you guys are in the building. Please thumbs up the video right now. And let's continue. Let me see how long we have remaining on this thing. We have about 45-50 minutes remaining. I'm not passing 2 hours on this thing, guys. Anyways, let's continue.
The number 7.
Okay, he's talking about the number 7. Let's move on, guys. Nothing wrong with the number 7, you know. Kudos to the people out there, man. What is that?
I never surrender. I 69 I want to see war.
The boys say you want to see war. Is that the action that we're talking about, guys? Because I've been hearing people talk about action. I personally believe the action should be happening during the time, not afterwards. So he's talking about he wants to see war. Now, would that be the case then, brothers and sisters? Is it war that the people are looking at when they consider action? Like I indicated before, I think action should be done at Parliament or this kind of things. That when the government is making certain statements that is not adequate enough, the people should then go forward and say, hey, no. It's like Calibishi people went up there and say, hey, no, we don't want our thing. And then they conceded. They conceded, you know. They go and do other projects. Boy. Human beings, boy, human beings. Waited for Skerrit to come there in Calibishi. He finally came. He gave his talk, and then afterwards people were asking and begging him for stuff. I know, you know. I know what happened afterwards, guys. Off the cameras, I will always know. So.
Rendering that election not free and not fair.
We know the election not free and not fair. Okay, we know this thing. My partner say you want war. Jerry Nelson is saying, Mr. Lick, so true, a Catholic nation. They serving a man, not God. I agree. There's a difference between Catholicism and Christianity. If you look at the history before they merged, brothers and sisters, before Catholics started calling themselves Catholic Christians, there was a war that took place between Christians and Catholicism. If you know history, brothers and sisters, you see, when the people do not know history, they are doomed to repeat it. Or they fail to even know what actually took place. This is one of the reasons why I think black people have suffered a great loss. Because a lot of us have lost our true knowledge Now keep in mind, before slavery came to the West, there was slavery in Africa, eh? Black people was also enslaving black people as well. But before that, brothers and sisters, I would say what was happening then, but I'd rather you guys go and do your research. History is important to know even where your own bloodline comes from. People just know I born in the Caribbean. They have no trace back to where they came from to understand the true integrity of themselves. How can a man know who he is if he doesn't even know who he is?
Thank you. Thank you, Carl, Mr. Chairman. Of course, we can say that King is our Speaker of the House here today in the People's Parliament. We call you here today that we can join ourselves together as Dominicans first to stand up for what we believe and to ensure that our democracy stay alive and stay with us. We are so thankful that you came out today and in spite of the
Somebody ball in war. I sure it's the same man. You want war, too much talking, action. But like I indicated before, what action are you guys talking about? There have been persons that reach out to me and say, Mr. Licks, anything that happened in the place, we ready. They are talking about military trained individuals who are from Dominica. Saying, anytime, bro, anytime things get out of hand, we come in. There are quite a number of them out there, military trained individuals. Say, if we need to come down to rescue Dominica, if Dominica is at war, we come in. So is that what we're talking about when you consider action? Because I hear people talking about action, and up to now they cannot define what action they're talking about. We need action. What action? Where? What how?
We're here listening to what we have to say. Electoral reform.
Man still saying, where's the war? Philson George, big up yourself. Philson George is saying, big up Mr. Licks, good to be here. Okay, big up, I appreciate you here, Philson George. Jerry Nelson, these people was murdering. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And especially, man, boy, if you knew, that's why I two religions I don't understand how people are part of. Catholicism, black people, Catholicism and Muslim. I would never understand if they truly understood the history. They would never. You know why slavery prolonged, brothers and sisters? You know, we not talk about that. Let's continue right here. James Enrico, Dominica would be better if the British were still ruling. In terms of economy, sure. But if you look at France and Guadeloupe and Martinique, well, we can say Guadeloupe and Martinique is developing or has developed quite a bit because of France. But at the end of the day, they are still pimping the little islands. They made it better, true, but they make it better for themselves because prices in France and prices in Martinique and Guadeloupe is totally different, vastly different. It is expensive in France and in Guadeloupe and Martinique, but it's cheaper in France. So there's also that sentiment right there. Anyways, let's continue. But I do understand the sentiment. Economic-wise, I'm sure it would have been better. Definitely. The last podcast, we were talking about that with Ezra Rima. We were talking about that same sentiment. We were talking about agriculture and the development of agriculture, how it was. Is it falling? Is it going better? Is it getting worse? You know, and he was talking about when during slavery, agriculture was much better. Not that slavery was a good thing, but during that time, you know, agriculture was booming. We should have continued, even after slavery, we should have continued that effort. But it seems like a laissez-faire kind of attitude came into the picture when it comes on to that. And then instead of making the millions of dollars that dwindled down, and, you know, right now, Dominica is $5 million in agriculture, more or less, 15 million. When Dominica came from 200 million, 150, 120, $80 million per year. Dominica making $5, $10 million in agriculture, agricultural nation. Brothers and sisters, I sit down in a plane. And then people give me Antigua water. Dominica have Antigua water in it. I drink 2 types of Antigua water on plane, and Antigua there are no river. Dominica claims it have 365 rivers and 1 bottle of water we have. Antigua have water in Dominica and it's cheaper than the very Dominican water. St. Vincent have water and it's in Dominica. Jamaica, Trinidad have water. The wholesale store selling Trinidadian water. Because Trinidadian water is being sold wholesale in Dominica.
Been on the move for a number of years. We have done all our powers to get the government to understand that electoral reform is a very important thing because the election has consequences.
Of course it does.
And it seems, brothers and sisters, irrespective of what we have done and what we continue to do, the Prime Minister and his government will have kept watch and not doing anything to keep the right reform.
That's facts. Anyways, guys, let's see if we can get to Lennox. Because I don't want to... The boy want war. Let's get to Lennox and then to run. Okay, look, Lennox. Let's listen to it.
You're here, and it's good to see you. The matter before us tonight is extremely simple. We have had this struggle for electoral reform.
Phil St. George is saying, I from Kalibishi. It's sad that my people were just taken for a ride. But you know what? But you know what? They want it that way. Yes. Things that are happening to the people, brothers and sisters, I believe it is the very people that want it that way. They want it that way, and then they will come back and make noise and say, Last, we don't get nothing. Well, you want it that way. This is why I tell people, it's unfortunate that I'm telling people. Dominica is a beautiful place. You come to relax from time to time. If you're making money overseas, you can come and relax in Dominica. You can come and free up yourself. That is when you can truly see war in Dominica. When you're making money in a better economy that is outside of Dominica. Come and visit Dominica for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, you know. And then go. Sometimes people don't even want to stay Dominica. They come, they enjoy the festival. They say they can stay extra week. Budget boring. They go in Martinique. They go in St. Lucia. They go in other places. It had Dominicans that come Dominica for 1 day and they go Martinique and spend at the family reunion in Martinique. Dominicans that come down for 1 day and they go Martinique with the rest of the families for them to have reunion. All of them from Dominica. You understand what I mean? Okay, let's continue.
Against one man and his gang in government, taking control of the electoral process and thereby depriving us, the people of Dominica, of the right to choose freely and fairly. Government of the people, government by the people, government for the people, with the majority votes of conscience of the people. This man has played us for his fools. This man has tricked and has deceived us, false hopes, empty promises, and he systematically abused, tainted and manipulated the electoral process to secure his re-election legacy in general elections in Dominica. What has he done with that re-election legacy? He has captured the resources of Dominica and he's using it for himself and his friends.
Yep.
So none of them know how hard it is.
But what Lofty doing now? Lofty, what are you doing, bro?
To survive in Dominica because they have presided over the economy where the main engines of agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, services sector, the renewable energy sector, the cultural industries are all collapsing and dying on us, and people cannot find good paying jobs. people are finding more and more that the struggle to survive is just getting harder and harder and harder. Things are more expensive. The loans, the mortgages are becoming unbearable. The prices of stuff in the supermarkets are going up and going up. Our electricity bills are rising. The water bill is rising. And the few young people in Dominica employed under the National Employment Program, they are threatening to send home thousands of them as things get harder and harder in Dominica. In the meantime, the government ministers are taking 50% salary increases and 28% salary increases, giving themselves $4,000 and $2,300 more per month on their salaries, while the ordinary people suffer and have nothing.
Yep, on top of $64,000 a month. And you want the opposition to come to your house to tell you the economy bad and you feeling it?
That is not a government for the people. That is a government of people for themselves and their friends in the outside world. What is going to happen, Dominica, years down the road, when through the incompetence of this government and the corrupt administration of the resources of Dominica, we don't have the international airport that we spend hundreds of millions of dollars on, and we don't have the jobs that our monies are paid for in construction in the services sector. So tonight, they asked me to say a few words about the Dennis Byron report and what is different about the Dennis Byron report and what the government is proposing to put before the Parliament. I only want to say that the Dennis Byron report as well was about protecting Skerritt's re-election legacy. But it didn't go far enough. And because it didn't go far enough to protect Skerritt and to help to keep him in office through fraudulent elections, it was discarded. That $750,000 exercise was also about keeping Skerritt in office. Let's not fool ourselves. And let's be clear. It wasn't fit for the purpose of free and fair elections either. But it was better than what the government is going to Parliament with. But it didn't go far enough for Ruthless Skerritt. Remember what the Caribbean Court of Justice told us. 2019, there remain great areas of concern over how the process of the 2019 elections were conducted and future elections in Dominica ought not to proceed with these or similar takes. Takes in the electoral process, ladies and gentlemen, undermine the legitimacy of the elections. So, do we have a situation now where what Mr. Skerritt is going to the Parliament with is going to remove the takes from the electoral process? No, we're not. I want to ask you tonight. I want to want you to answer me. Every time I ask a question, you need to answer me because I want to know that we are on the same wavelength. Do you agree that persons voting for representation in Dominica, in the Parliament of Dominica, who are ordinarily resident outside of Dominica, is a taint on the electoral process of Dominica? Of course. Do you agree? You agree?
They do yay. They do yay.
Do you agree that people voting for representation in the Parliament of Dominica who are not resident in Dominica is a taint on the electoral process?
These people say no. All you are listening.
Yes. Do you agree? And in order to have an accurate list of voters who are eligible to vote based on the...
There's a problem here, brothers and sisters. There's a problem here. I think understanding is the issue at hand right there. Anyways, let's continue.
Constitutional requirements of citizenship, age, and residency, that there must be total re-registration of voters and provision for cleansing the voters list annually. Do you agree? Do you agree that we cannot have a system of electing government that allows the citizens living overseas who are not ordinarily resident in Dominica to to choose representatives in Parliament of Dominica for constituencies where they do not live and therefore cannot be represented. Do you agree? Do you agree that we cannot have a system for electing government that allows for citizens living overseas? None of us are together. Do you agree that voter fraud, voting multiple times, voting in the name of the dead, voting with false identities have no place in our system of electing government? Do you agree that voter identification cards, supported with biometric data, facial recognition and fingerprints is one of the most important reforms and is essential to eliminate a wide variety of fraudulent conduct in elections, including impersonation and multiple voting? Do you agree? Do you agree that tampering the ballots, altering the count of votes, unlawful recounts, and other forms of direct manipulation of the voting process have no place in our system of elected government?
I think one of the things that is lacking, especially when you ask the first question and apparently people did not understand the question and they just answered no when they should have been saying yes. I think there's a lack of proper education when it comes down to politics, brothers and sisters. People just look to give the answer that you might want to hear instead of understanding the question that has been asked. There's a huge problem here, man. There's a huge problem right there.
Do you agree that offering money, gifts, or other incentives to voters or election officials in exchange for votes or favorable treatment should have no place in our election? Do you agree that the payment of air and sea transportation for voters living overseas and the payment of free entertainment for voters represent major taints on the electoral process that have determined the outcome of elections in the past 20 years?
What is wrong with Lofty, boy? What is wrong with Lofty? Lofty, really? Lofty just want to show, man, I don't know.
Do you agree that the regulation of election campaign financing is necessary because money cannot be allowed to have the controlling influence?
Hold on. Joycelyn F. said, put the party out of office and get rid of the fear. You have to get rid of the fear first before you can put the party out of office. The problem here is the people are fearful. They are fearful for their own survival. That's one of the things. If they know that they don't support the government has killed the economy, what else can they go off except begging the government? This is one of the reasons why I tell people they need to leave. It's unfortunate that I say that people need to leave for them to have betterment in their lives. There's at the end of my reaction where I showcased there's an hourglass, and at the top of the hourglass is a youthful face, and the bottom of the hourglass is like an elderly face. This is time right there, brothers and sisters. We have wasted since Keridem came into office for 20 years to 2004. 20 years wasted time in Dominica. Dominica has been going backwards consistently over and over and over, brothers and sisters. 20 years. You know what 20 years of wasted time is? And we're still here talking about going to people's house for them to believe what you're saying. Really? Okay then.
Political system such that elections can be determined and or purchased by big money interests or criminal enterprises. And do you agree that there must be regulation of election campaign financing to address the critical money and politics issues that are negatively affecting our elections? Do you agree that the campaign finance regulation is not about giving political parties money to campaign from the public purse, as was very incorrectly stated by the Prime Minister and repeated by advocates of the Dominica Party during the electoral reform consultation? And do you agree that this is about our responsibility to hold elected officials and wealthy special interests accountable to the people and to create a level playing field for fair competition and ensure that everybody plays by the same rules. Do you agree, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. Using state money and state resources, such as public funds or government-operated facilities, to support a particular candidate or political party is wrong and should be eliminated from our system of elected government in Dominica. Do you agree with the Commonwealth Observer Mission that electoral reform must address the lack of impartiality in provision of public services and clear breaches of civil service staff regulations, where public servants are openly politically partisan and assist the distribution and provision of government services and goods? Do you agree, ladies and gentlemen? No. Skewed or unfair media coverage that disproportionately favors one candidate or party over others and potentially influences public perception and voting is a taint for our electoral process. Do you agree that all media houses must be legally obligated to ensure that political parties and any independent candidates participating in elections have equal access to media services? Electing government should be protected.
I'm happy that happened, I'm happy that happened because it looked like they're actively listening right now. So when they were saying no, when they were supposed to say yes, it seems like, they're actively listening. I think a lot of people listen, but not a lot of people actively listen. Or they hear, they just don't listen.
By foreign entities influence election results through hacking, disinformation, or financial contributions. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
That our system of elected government should be protected from the use of threats or violence against voters, candidates, or election officials to influence the election outcome, as happened in Salisbury and Marymount during the 2019 elections. Do you agree?
No. I agree. I said no.
No. We are standing today because we people have a duty to oppose and to prevent.
Why is Lofty focusing on the wrong? Lofty, bruh.
Of any new and revised legislation that will normalize the formula for unlawful and corrupt electoral conduct that has been engaged to see elections in Dominica. We stand today to align our electoral process with the requirements of free and fair election integrity and to make sure it is the backbone of democratic governance in our Commonwealth of Dominica. We stand today because the new and revised election laws do not provide for reforms that are needed, and so
guys, I'm gonna switch over to the Dominica News Online.
We stand today against the evil of one man.
Guys, Lofty be tripping, man. Lofty tripping. Okay, hold on.
Facial recognition and fingerprints. The constitutional state is brought into question. Dominica, the time has come for us to revolt. If Roosevelt, Scared and his gang are going to continue to deny us the right to choose our government of the people, by the people, for the people, freely and fairly, with the majority votes of conscience of the people, it is time to revolt. If they will not relent and if they will not give the people what they want, we need to get serious. I love you. I thank you. God bless you.
Let's go to Randy, brothers and sisters. Okay, so thank you, Randy. I heard Randy, that was the start.
I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, every one of you behind me. I want to call this parliament to order. And so I'm going to ask all of you to stand in front of me because we're going to take a vote in a while. I need your undivided attention. So if you're on this side, come up front. If you're behind me, come up front so we can take a vote. Dominicans, come on, go in front of me. Go in front of me. They won't give us a break. I pray for this. Go in front of me. Yeah, all of you, go in front of me. Because tonight we're going to take a vote. And I want you to listen. So those of you fellas talking, listen a while. I will tell you when to answer. Is that all right? Exot power. Neutral power. Bon. Dominicans, friends, not so much good friends, countrymen, I came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. And I want you to help me do that. Is that all right? Good. We are not doing it in secret. I heard the man told his people that they are whispering in secret, but he will wipe them off the NEP. We're not doing that in secret. Are you all with me still? Right. We want to be bold and brazen about what we're doing tonight. That's why you came. So listen to what the ERC is dealing with on your behalf. Because we want to walk down Freedom Street without anybody pointing their guns at us. We welcome the police. In fact, if you're a police and you're here, especially those of you with your cameras, I invite you to come front and please record the video. Take it to the places where it must go, because
Respect Randy. Hey, I like the boy.
we're fighting for you. All of you police officers, and you know that, we are fighting for you too.
Some of them don't believe that now. Some of them believe, hey, that is the people business, I don't care. Dominica Vice, big up yourself one time. Linton needs to shave that barb. Mr. Lex, I'm happy you're alive. It's good to be live. Jerry Nelson, the biggest sin is to fear another man. I myself will fear no man. People just meet me and say, Mr. Lex, how you brave like that? I say, brave for what? What do you mean? I just talk in my talk. I have to be worried if people go into what? Gasa, the only man I fear is Jah. The only man I fear is Yeshua. Not at all I will ever fear any man. There is no man on this planet I will fear. You will never see that happen.
Because your police force.
And you think I can fear, scare it? Me? Hey, I am not a fool, brothers and sisters. Will never be one to.
He's in a mess.
I do fear Biden. Is scared I can fear?
Because of malgovernance. So here I go, ladies and gentlemen. Whereas the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica have been demanding electoral reform since 2005, and whereas Roosevelt Skerrit and his cabinet has caused tear gas and live runs of ammunition to rain on the people of Salisbury, and have threatened the people of Marigot using the regional security system.
By the way, guys, are you guys hearing the voice like it's muffled? It's not muffled, but there's like a shouting kind of thing going on. I'm hearing it in my ears. Maybe I should decrease the volume. If you guys are hearing that, let me know that in the live chat.
2 days before the 2019 general elections, and whereas Roosevelt Skerrit thrashed a report on electoral reform presented by a group of persons representing civil society organizations, along with learned Dominican legal drafters, and whereas Roosevelt Skerrit paid about $700,000 to jurist Sir Dennis Byron.
Okay, the shouting. Yeah, I'm hearing the shouting. Let me see if I can adjust it, but it seems like the shouting it's kind of like peaking, but it's peaking on the video itself, not on my stuff. But let me see if I can readjust it.
And wanted to cajole the then opposition leader, Lennox Linton, to agree with everything that Byron would have recommended in his report. And then he threw the report.
Just said
and
that.
whereas Roosevelt Skerrit and his cabinet decided to appoint the Attorney General and others, we don't know who the others are, to draft the current bill that he proposes to bring to the House without regard and respect to the population.
The man make his own draft. The man make his own thing to present to Parliament to pass, because he knows that he has what? He has the majority. So he's going to completely bypass the people. The people talking about action. That is action, brothers and sisters. You cannot make that happen. The people have to be out there in thousands to say, scare it, not so. You're making your own draft to pass in parliament and you know you have the majority. It'll go through. Putting the people at a detriment. And we talk about free and fair elections, making it far worse than it was before. Really? I mean, come on, people. We talk about action. You're supposed to be out there. We will see as time goes by.
And whereas Roosevelt Skerrit himself disagrees with the law to the extent that he says to Curtis Matthew that he don't want confirmation in Birmingham and England and in US. And whereas the Electoral Reform Coalition has written to Roosevelt Skerrit on numerous occasions in his capacity as Prime Minister, and he does not have the decency to acknowledge, far less respond, to meet with the citizens of Dominica. And whereas Roosevelt Skerrit has hijacked the constitutional responsibility of the Electoral Reform Commission and has single-handedly taken over the electoral process. And he has told us that he have other fish to fry, aided and abetted by the Attorney General. And whereas, ladies and gentlemen, all indications are that Roosevelt Skerrit is planning another reset.
Another election.
And whereas you and the people of Dominica are fed up with the constant kicking down of the can of electoral reform by Roosevelt Skerrit, be it resolved that the people gathered in the People's Parliament agreed that the following, which will be formulated in legal draft and will be in legislative form to be tabled in Parliament, covering all the areas herein after mentioned. And these are the areas, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I guess that is action right there. The people created their own to be put forth in Parliament. So I think that is good right there. Kudos on that regard. So I guess that's why the meeting was held. The Skerrit want to make his own legislation. The people present their own. I think that is a good thing as well. And of course, he's about to break down what that is.
One, the right to vote. Consistent with the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, the law we want is that only persons
residing,
who are ordinarily resident in Dominica should be eligible to vote in elections in Dominica. Everybody say, I agree.
I agree. Facts. Okay, we cooking, man. We cooking, make this super, man.
Number two, voter ID cards.
Definitely needed.
Every eligible voter shall be issued a voter's identification card produced by the Electoral Commission and will contain photograph, fingerprints, ID number, voter registration number, polling district, voter name and address. The security features on the card cannot be at the discretion of the chief registering officer and must be the requirements in the law or the proposed regulation. Do you agree?
I agree.
Number three.
Guys, you know what? I'm going to do a reaction on that tomorrow as well. But single-handing, what do you call it? Hand-picking Pastor Randy right there. If you guys agree, let me do that in the comment box as well. Should I do a reaction, separate reaction on that? Let's continue.
Registration and confirmation.
Because more people need to know this.
Of voters. Roosevelt Skerrit agree with us on that one. The process of registration and reconfirmation of voters shall only be conducted in Dominica within a 3-month period.
Yes.
During which no election shall be called. Eligibility to be registered or reconfirmed shall be those already enshrined in the existing law, and that is citizenship, Commonwealth status, and residency. Do you agree?
I agree. I agree.
4, bribery and tricking. The law proposes that the amended House of Assembly Elections Bill must specify, it must specify that free musical concerts and similar events featuring international artists by political parties, their agents and candidates are acts of treating.
Treating. Facts.
With respect to the offense of bribery, the bill must provide for the avoidance of doubt that the payment or promise to pay to a voter or his traveling expenses on the condition, expressed or implied, that he will vote for a particular candidate is bribery.
Yep. Facts.
And there must be a compulsory prison term of not less
Consequence.
than 2 years for bribery, treating, and undue influence.
Facts. Facts.
Campaign finance regulation. I hope you know I was going to say that now. Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears. I came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Campaign finance regulation. My brothers and sisters.
Dominica vibes, I don't agree with the residency part at all. Dominicans in the diaspora contribute heavily to the economy, so why can't we vote? Because you do not live there. I do not agree. I said if, okay, I gave the stipulation myself. I gave the stipulation stating, okay, if you have to allow the overseas people to vote, have them in their own constituency outside. So there's 21 constituencies. Give the overseas people 2 constituencies where they can vote digitally. That will not affect what the people living in the country will do. 21 versus 2 constituencies, obviously, you know where that goes. So the 21 constituencies will vote the people living in the country, and the whoever living outside will vote in the 2. However, if that is a problem, you have to figure these kind of things out. We'll leave that for a later date. Just because you're contributing to Dominica, there are foreigners contributing to Dominica, you know. I did an interview, a podcast with an individual who's trying his best to get the coffee industry up. So because he's getting the coffee industry up in Dominica, that means he has to vote, and he lives overseas. That doesn't make any sense to me. The man has created surplus for farmers in Dominica. So that means he should vote in Dominica? No, absolutely not. He doesn't live here. He doesn't feel the blunt. He doesn't feel the consequences. So whereas it sounds nice to say, let the people contribute in what have you, they can still contribute. They can still contribute. They live in overseas. Let them vote overseas. The people living in Dominica should be the ones voting, and I agree that specifically. I only gave the stipulation saying, okay, if you have to make overseas people vote, give them their own constituencies. So in total, it'll have 23 constituencies. If that cannot be handled, then leave it alone. Just because you're sending back things to Dominica, you're not feeling the blunt of Dominica. You're not feeling the blunt of Dominica at all. If you're born in Dominica, is what I said. Whether you're born in Dominica or not, if you're not living in Dominica, you shouldn't be voting. The people that living in Dominica should be voting. Anyways, let's continue.
One of the best pieces of law that Dennis Byron wrote.
But of course, don't get me wrong, you know, that's your opinion, that's my opinion right there. So it is what it is. But I think it's better for the people who are living and feeling the pressure of Dominica, the ones to be voting. People living overseas having better lives, and they decide, hey, let me send down a barrel or 2 barrels, you know, every Christmas, or sending down a little money for my family here and there from time to time. That come on. That's just me.
That's why Roosevelt Scary trashed the thing. We want that back in the law. We want to know where the money comes from and who gave you the money.
Facts.
Because we understand that people buying elections those days to get what they want. Do you want that back in the law?
Yes, sir.
Number 6, abuse of incumbency. Let me tell you what that means.
Talk to us.
When people in government using government resources to pay people and win elections, that's what abuse of incumbency is. You hear that?
Hold on. Dominica Vibes is saying, we are adopting so many American policies. Why can't we adopt their voting policy? Because we are not America. That is a problem I think a lot of us are having. The Caribbean wants to go after what America is doing. It shouldn't do this. When you have different populations, different friends, so to speak, different allies, different allies, different allegiances, you do not do the same thing America is doing, thinking you're going to get the same result. What works for America because of its nation or whatever its nation is, doesn't mean it's going to work for the Caribbean. The Caribbean needs to adapt to its own policies that will work best for itself. America adapts to its own policies, not on the basis of other countries. It's based off its own self. Therefore, what works for America does not necessarily work for Dominica. What works for Dominica is on the basis of what is best for the people living in Dominica. And therefore, people overseas should not be voting in Dominica. If they should vote, they should have their own 2 constituencies that they can vote in. That's my only take on that. Anyways.
Of course, as a volley. We recommend provisions to strictly prohibit public officers, the resources of the state, and projects resulting from the expenditure of public funds as campaign tools to corruptly, improperly, and unduly influence voters and thereby gain political advantage. Little jobs every here and there, those little wallets and those bags with those money that coming in those private planes, that's what we're talking about. Do you agree?
I agree.
Access to media. And
I think Pastor Randy is doing a much better job when it comes down to making his questions more clearly and loudly, because on Lennox side, I don't think Lennox has been complicated in terms of not making the common man understand the question that he was asking. That's why people were answering no when they should have been answering yes and yes, and they should have been answering no and stuff. But he's making it very clear. Kudos to Pastor Randy on that.
Oh, happy Kurt is still there. The House of Assembly Elections Bill must provide for access to all media for all political parties.
Facts.
That all public media houses, thank you, print, radio, TV, digital and electronic, are prohibited from denying any political party or candidate paid time and or space for the broadcast or publication of their messages.
Facts. Kudos for them bringing a Twapito bottle of water. Kudos. I thought they would have brought like a Antigua water, a St. Vincent water, but they brought the Twapito, so at least they supported local. Kudos for that.
Public media, ladies and gentlemen.
Facts.
DBS et al. All these houses must be legally obliged to ensure that political parties and any independent candidates participating in elections have equal access to media services during election campaign period. And if they don't, penalties must be prescribed.
Exactly. So Scary them agree with that, but they decide they don't want the penalties and stuff. They don't want the consequence. Put back the penalties. So if we come election time and you don't make it happen, penalties should be faced.
Failure to comply with the rules. S. Zodako. Here's a big one now. Foreign interference. Foreign interference. Foreign persons, companies or governments, citizenship sales agents, and holders of government contracts, financed especially by the CDI, are expressly prohibited from participating in election campaigns and contributing either directly or indirectly to any candidate or party during a general election. Are we in agreement?
I agree. They should give both sides one set of money. 1.5 or 3 million, run with that. That's it. If you lose all your money during that time, well, you'll have to go and play jukebox on Bayfront and hope that your supporters come and watch you play. All right.
Number 9, the Electoral Commission. Some of what I said in number 8 refers to the Electoral Commission as well, so I won't read that. In other words, all the citizenship by investment agents on the Electoral Commission must be fired immediately because they have a stake with the government. They cannot be fair. It cannot be fair. The appointment and nomination to members on this commission should be selected from academia, civil society, church-based organizations, and it must have at least one woman, Papa Bodje. Do you agree?
Representation.
And that one going to give somebody high blood pressure. Because in the current law, they say they will pass it, but they want to wait 15 months before it get effective. Because they have Zazi Muzai to do in the 15 months. You all hearing me? Good. So number 10, the effective date of the legislation that must be passed in Parliament that will encompass all of that, ladies and gentlemen, should be no more than 3 months after the passing of the legislation. Do we agree? Now here's where I need your support.
They need to also have a set date. I heard Dominica vibes asking, why doesn't Dominica accept, do the same thing America is doing? Well, I agree to one thing. 2 terms, they should have 2 terms. And if you, do what you're doing during the 2 terms so it avoid corruption to a certain level. And 1, they should have a set date for elections.
All of you. And next time you bring in your Nenin, your Power, your Compare, your Dudu, your Bo, your B, I don't care what name you call them. Just tell them you come in with me. You all understand what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, be it further resolved, and I take in my time to read that. Be it further resolved that the completed legislation will be delivered to Parliament on a date and time agreeable to the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Can I have a yes?
Amen.
So when we're ready, we're going to call you. And don't call me and ask me to pay your boss for you. So pattern somebody, once we call you, get a ride. Check your partner. Make a collection to put these logos. And make sure all of you come down Roso. You hear that? All of you come down Roso. Right now we have the police busy. It's then they will be busy. You understand what I'm talking about? It's then they will be busy. Because we want to make sure that we hand the Parliament the legislation that we want. It is not going to be the legislation that they want. It is going to be the legislation that we want. You know why? Because the legislation that they want is a biased legislation.
True.
What we are proposing, when it's passed, hear me, we don't care who wins.
I agree. By the way, brothers and sisters, please give the thumbs up. Click the thumbs up button. There's over 100 and something of you guys here. Please click the thumbs up button right now. I would appreciate that. 110% right there. Click the thumbs up button on this here video. And with that said, guys, let us continue right there.
Is passed and we submit to it. Let the best man
Win, for sure.
But the reason why they fret the legislation is because they know
they can't win.
Once it's fair, they cannot win.
That's fact.
That's why we need all you. Can I hear a yes?
Yes, amen, sir.
Now here's the final thing I want to tell you. I want you to go home safe tonight. But this is the house of the people. All of you are with me?
Imagine the rain stop. The rain stop, guys. Just for Pastor Raddy to come and give that powerful statement right there. That powerful, what do you call that? A powerful dialogue, so to speak.
Right, so I'm going to move the resolution, Mr. Chairman. If all of you agree with all the pieces of legislation that I just passed and announced to you, all of you lift your hand and say, yeah.
Yeah, I lift my hand here. I agree.
Mr. Speaker, the ayes have it. The bill has been passed. Come on, put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen.
The question here is, who's going to be bringing that legislation forward? Will they be looking at well, then again, it doesn't have opposition leader. So that self is another thing right there. But who will be bringing that to pass? I'm guessing maybe one of the candidates, maybe Marigot or Salisbury. It seems like Marigot is compromised. So maybe Salisbury will be the best to bring it forth. We'll see what happens, guys, as time goes by.
The people have spoken.
Guys, I will try my best to bring this. I will do a reaction on just Pastor Randy's own alone, guys. I'll do a reaction on it. But I think I'm gonna be ending this stuff here right now. Hopefully you guys enjoy the vibrations. I see a number of you guys coming in. You guys came in late. It seems like it's 10 o'clock all you want to come in. That's crazy right there. But I do appreciate every single one of you guys for being a part of these vibrations. Let me see what some of you guys saying. Dominica vibes, crab mentality on both sides. Well, I agree. You can have crab mentality on both sides. The question here is, where is the generalism? The generalism. Is crab mentality a generalism on the blue side, or is it a generalism on the red side? That's an interesting one right there. Auto 718. Everybody who retired already went back to the island, buy land and build house, and this guy talking about living out of the struggle. What? You might want to break that down for us. Everybody who retired already went back to the island. So I'm guessing he's talking about people who live overseas going back to the island, Dominica, and build house. And this guy talking about living out of the struggle. So I'm guessing he's talking about people living overseas, living in the struggle. There's always struggle overseas. It's just at a different level. Whereas you might be struggling to survive, to save. Some people might be struggling to pay rent, or, you know, there's different struggles, different levels of struggles when it comes down to different places that you live. So there's always struggles out there, guys. I've heard people in St. Kitts complaining, saying, hey, things are bad. I say, well, come Dominica now. Come Dominica, and we will see what perspective is like when you come Dominica. Hey, but yeah, I'm guessing that's what the person meant. Rayon Austries lifted his hands. Scared must go, scared come, like the route of Caribbean. I guess it's runt of the Caribbean. Hour too early, man. Lord, Mr. Leaks, 15 more minutes, man. The dialogue is good. We'll do that another time. I will say I want my podcast to be about an hour and 30 minutes. And live reactions, brothers and sisters, I want it to be like 2 hours. We are already above 2 hours right there, so I'm gonna end it right there. I wanted to get Pastor Randy's thing, so if there's more tomorrow, I will definitely react to that, and you guys can check it out as well. I think a number of persons definitely need to know what's going on in that regard as well. Also, I should be doing another podcast on Sunday. Guys, what time do you think? Let me just stay for like 2 more minutes and ask you guys, what time do you think I should do it? I think I should do it around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I know some persons, you know, probably sleeping around that time and get up later in the night and come in. Because right now, look, the same thing. We have over 100 people there right now. And it's like 10:30. You guys ain't going to sleep. It's Monday. You guys not going to work tomorrow? No. I guess it's still early. Set up a donation button, super chat, etc. I have these things, you know, I just haven't put them out there. So I guess people can send their stuff and then it'll pop up on the screen. We'll see how that goes. But I want to do this. I will be going live from time to time when I'm doing the podcast where this can actually happen right there. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. I want to run it for like a good 6 months or 4 months. 5, 6 p.m. Okay, let me see. Which one? 5 or 6 p.m., guys. Let me know that in the comment box below. Or not the comment box, but in the live chat. Should I do it at 5 or 6? It's Tuesday today. Big up, I guess you in Australia or in England. Early morning. I hope I didn't keep you up, James Enrico. But on Sunday, should I do it at 5 or 6? Good to have people chatting and getting live feedback here. 6 p.m., 5. Nikron, you say 5 already. Dominican Vibe says 6 p.m. Philson says 6 p.m. I need one more person to let me know. So 6 p.m. seems to be taking precedence right now. Only Nikron say 5. Guys, we don't have all night here. We don't have all night. Let me just do 5 or 6. Or how about I try it at 5? Jerry say 5. Okay, we are the tie. So the next person that gives the number 5 or 6, Daniel, really, you have 5 or 6. You coming 344. 5 or 6? Which one? So 5 and 6 are tied. The next person to see which one it is, 5 or 6, then we'll run it at that time. By the time people come out work, it's 5. Man. Okay. Okay, so 6. All right, guys. So 6 p.m. Sunday. Look out for the next podcast. It hasn't been done yet. So 6. Okay, a number of you guys are saying 6. Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock. We'll do it at 6. All right, guys. I'm going to sign out here. Thanks so much for joining these vibrations. If you have not done so yet, click the thumbs up button. I would appreciate that. Click the like button. And of course, if you've not done so as well, subscribe and turn on that post notifications so you can get the latest vibrations when they tend to come through. Right there. It's about Miss Licks. Once again, guys. Be real. I wonder if you guys know the saying. Be real, what do I say? What's the end of it? Be real what? Bring Nicholas Andrew. That's not what it says at all. You guys, okay. Anyways, guys, be real. Be positive. I'll see you guys in the next live interaction. So I'll be doing more of these vibes on BrBpTV as well as the podcast, and the reaction vibrations, the pre-recorded reactions, I'll be doing them on the Miss Licks Reacts channel, guys. So subscribe to both channels. I would appreciate that. Anyways, be real, brothers and sisters. Be positive.